On Sunday, a bruised and battered San Francisco 49ers team limped into Atlanta to face a competitive Falcons team who had been playing well this year. And if you're a Falcons fan, you're probably wondering how in the heck your team was a 5-point underdog at home. Welcome to Josh's Football Breakdowns, where we don't tell you what you're seeing, we let the film tell us what we're seeing. And what we saw on Sunday was a lot of things that the Falcons did right and a lot of things that the 49ers need to improve on. So let's get right into it. The Falcons would bruise the 49ers early and often in the running game. And here, on 3rd and 2, that's exactly what San Francisco expects. So the 49ers approach this by using 4 down linemen and 3 linebackers to defend the play, leaving just 1 safety back deep. But the Falcons respond by spreading the 49ers defense out. And this leaves Olamide Zaccheaus uncovered. Charvarius Ward is pointing this out, so the safety Tayshaun Gibson rotates down late. But you can see he's got to give Zaccheaus a lot of space here because there's no safety. And Olamide Zaccheaus takes the space the defense left behind, and Marcus Mariota gets him the football, and it's a big play for the Falcons right off the bat. Mariota caps off the drive with a touchdown to Michael Pruitt. Let's go back to the snap. Talanoa Hufanga had to briefly leave the game to be evaluated for a possible concussion. The NFL is being very careful after the Tua Tagovailoa incident. And here, the Falcons show the read option fake, and safety George Odom is in the game, and you can see him peeking into the backfield, and Pruitt escapes behind him. The coverage is good, but the pass is better, and it's a touchdown for the Falcons. Atlanta comes out, goes right down the field, and punches San Francisco right in the mouth. And Younghoe Koo kicks through the extra point, making the score 7-0. Moving ahead a bit, the 49ers are facing a key 3rd down and 1. And Jeff Wilson Jr. just takes this ball behind the left tackle. And Atlanta defends this pretty aggressively. Now, I can't see who punched it out, but we can take a look at Jeff Wilson Jr. there. He doesn't have the football. The Falcons scoop it up, and they return it. Now, I do want to highlight some excellent hustle from George Kittle here. He gives A.J. Terrell a late push to try to get him out of bounds, and Terrell fumbles the football. And of course, if a fumbled football goes past the goal line and then out of bounds, it's a touchback, which would be San Francisco's ball. That didn't happen, and the Falcons recovered for a score, but I think we have to highlight the hustle of George Kittle there. Now, this is interesting. Watch Deebo Samuel coming in motion, and the ball is snapped before he kind of gets set, and it looks like he misses the block on the outside. Had that play been made, I think Jeff Wilson Jr. could have had plenty of running room to get this first down. You know, as a result, he did get the first down anyway. He got enough yardage here, but he had to run into a crowd and the ball gets punched out. And once again, we see the late push from Kittle that caused the fumble. But it wasn't enough. Falcons score, and this is a disastrous start for the 49ers and a great start for the Falcons. Younghoe Koo knocks it through again, making the score 14-0. It's a terrible play for Jeff Wilson Jr., and the Niners need to get back on track immediately. But here we see the Falcons defense do something creative, something they would do all game long. And here they call a play that's designed to fool both the offensive line and the quarterback. You can see they have 4 down linemen, but they only rush 3, and they drop the end into coverage. This takes away the route of George Kittle. To maintain their 4-man pass rush, they send the corner off the edge. This leaves the slot receiver uncovered, so the safety drops down to pick him up, and the linebacker drops back to fill the void that the safety created. This does leave a little bit of a hole for the running back. The only problem for the Falcons is that's not a running back. That's Deebo Samuel. One of Deebo's greatest abilities is the ability to take a short pass and turn it into a long gain. Here he gained some nice yardage after the catch. A couple of things we can see from this angle. Garoppolo starts out looking to his right. He doesn't like what he sees, everybody's covered, and this also has the effect of moving rookie linebacker Troy Anderson out of the way. But what I really want to show you is watch Jalen Moore recognize that the pressure is coming late from the corner, and he makes an adjustment and gives Garoppolo just enough time to get this ball off to Deebo Samuel. Very impressive. All right, it's the same drive, but we're in the second quarter now, and we can see that the Falcons have no safety help on Brandon Aiyuk's side of the field. And look at the stem of Brandon Aiyuk's route. It looks like he's going deep. Corner A.J. Terrell knows that he has no safety help. He's not going to let Brandon Aiyuk beat him for a long touchdown. He makes sure of it, and that allows Aiyuk to get separation to the inside. Now after this play, something significant would happen. First, the 49ers would follow this up with a run from Jeff Wilson Jr. But then on the next play, the play clock would get down to about 6 seconds, and San Francisco would call their first timeout. After the timeout, San Francisco would execute a really nice play design. Here we see they use the threat of Deebo Samuel, who has a lot of space in front of him. Safety Richie Grant drops down to pick him up, and Brandon Aiyuk is just going to sit right at the 30. And this looks like a bit of a risky throw. Garoppolo guns this thing in there. We all know Jimmy has that gunslinger mentality. But in truth, this is just a well-designed play. Look at the stem of the route of Brandon Aiyuk. As far as Casey Hayward knows, he's going deep. And I want you to watch Casey Hayward, how hard it is for him to stop and turn around to make this play. Ball's there in plenty of time, and Garoppolo is playing well. But the Falcons' defense is well coached, and here it looks like they have all 4 San Francisco receivers covered. If you're wondering who the 5th eligible receiver is, the 49ers had left George Kittle in to help with pass protection. But it looks like he's beaten on the play. And to make matters worse, we also see the pocket collapsing on the right side. But watch Garoppolo make a really nice play here and underhand this ball to George Kittle, who takes it for some nice yardage. San Francisco would cap this drive off with another nicely designed Kyle Shanahan play. They start off with a run fake to the running back. It just so happens that Atlanta is coming on a run blitz. And the fake also lures in safety Casey Hayward. Why? Well, that's not the running back. That's Deebo Samuel, who is a major threat and one the Falcons have to account for. So if the 49ers have their wide receiver in the backfield, where do they have their running back? Jeff Wilson Jr. is lined up in the slot. And you can see he's already getting ready to block the outside corner. Brandon Aiyuk takes a step back, and the 49ers are sending their offensive lineman downfield to block. And Aiyuk just follows the block into the end zone for a touchdown, and the 49ers are on the board. One thing I want to make sure to mention is that Casey Hayward had to leave the game, and the Falcons had to put him on injured reserve. And of course, we wish Hayward a speedy recovery, and we wish him the best. Robbie Gould knocks through the extra point, and the score is Falcons 14, 49ers 7. And Atlanta would get the ball back. But Samson Ebukam would loop around and has a clean shot at Marcus Mariota. But Mariota makes him miss and appears to have a lane. But I want you to watch the effort of 49ers rookie Drake Jackson. Jackson is having a solid rookie season for San Francisco, and he gets home for the sack. Down 7 on the road, a third down sack is just what the doctor ordered, and the Falcons would have to punt back to the 49ers. Here, Ray McCloud could have called a fair catch, but if you miss the tackle on Ray McCloud, you're going to have a bad time. On this play, Jimmy Garoppolo holds the safety with his eyes. It doesn't hurt that George Kittle is running right at him too. But the thing to watch on this play is an outstanding move by Brandon Aiyuk, gaining separation. Touchdown, 49ers. And don't worry, Mr. Official, Brandon Aiyuk would never hit you with that football. Robbie Gould knocks through the extra point, and we are tied at 14 apiece. The Falcons would respond, but here they're facing third down and forever, and DeMeco Ryans sends an ultra-aggressive 6-man blitz. Is this too risky? Maybe not, considering the Falcons left both the running back and the tight end to help with pass protection. And to help mitigate risk, the 49ers secondary drops back deep. They know that the Falcons have to get all the way to the 49-yard line for a first down. But suddenly there's a lot of green grass in front of Mariota. Fred Woerner has the chance at a tackle, but he misses pretty badly here. Big hit by Talanoa Hufanga, but the damage is done. Mariota has just gotten the Falcons a key first down. Were the Falcons holding on this play? It's possible, but Mariota moved so quickly, I can't be 100% sure that even if those players hadn't held, he wouldn't have gotten the first down anyway. I wish the officials would have made that call, but then again, I'm a 49ers fan, so. Let's move on to the next play. Diamador Lenore is matched up one-on-one against Drake London, another good rookie for the Falcons. And the coverage is tight, but notice that Lenore's back is turned. Mariota decides to take this shot, and Drake London makes a great catch on the sideline. Looks like there was some good sportsmanship between the two at the end of the play there. London understandably fired up after this catch. Take another look. That's outstanding. And if we're going to call out the officials for missing the holding call, they very easily could have flagged Diamador Lenore for pass interference on that play as well. Now, before we look at this next play, let's go back to a game in 2018 between the 49ers and the Raiders. And here we see the 49ers are going to use the tight end to block the defensive end. They're going to pull the right tackle around. And also notice they have a fullback over there to help with the blocking too. Just file that part away for later. Raheem Mostert will follow the right tackle, Mike McGlinchey, for a big play. You get the idea. Here, the Falcons put their fullback in motion, and it has a similar effect, moving the defense. They use Kyle Pitts to block the defensive end, they pull the right tackle around, and Caleb Huntley will follow for a big gain for Atlanta. After this, another significant event of the half. The 49ers use their second timeout. That leaves them with just one remaining in the first half. The Falcons make the most of this drive with a simple read option play. The defense crashes down, and it's an easy run for Mariota to the end zone. Touchdown, Falcons. Younghoe Koo knocks through the extra point, giving the Falcons a 21-14 lead. But there's still a little bit of time left in the half, so the 49ers are going to try to get some points. I remember Joe Montana saying the good offenses build in a little outlet pass in case your downfield receivers are covered. And here, it's Kyle Juszczyk. But A.J. Terrell does a great job of forcing Kyle Juszczyk to turn this play back to the inside so that he'll be stopped in bounds with a running clock, forcing the 49ers to use their final timeout. With just 9 seconds and no timeouts left, the Falcons defense takes away the sidelines. In my opinion, the Atlanta defense did a good job of forcing San Francisco into a desperation play with Deebo Samuel to the sideline, even though he's triple covered here. Why didn't they throw the ball to Brandon Aiyuk? Because he's in bounds, that's why. He will be stopped in bounds and the half will end. The correct play is the low percentage play to Deebo Samuel. You just have to throw it up and hope for a miracle. You don't have any other choice. And the miracle doesn't come. The pass is picked off, and the half would come to an end. When I saw this play live, I thought Deebo might have been interfered with. But here we get a great look. It's actually Deebo Samuel pulling the defender down. Again, just hoping to create some chaos, hoping to get a lucky pass interference call so the Niners can kick a field goal. But it didn't happen. Now there's no time left, but the official, by rule, is still supposed to mark where the ball went down. And you see players and coaches running on the field. Atlanta would be called for a penalty for that. And as a result, they would have to kick off from the 20-yard line to open the second half. And you would think that the 49ers would get real good field position as a result. And this is an opportunity to talk about who the punter and kickoff guy is for the Falcons. It's Bradley Pinion, who used to be a San Francisco 49er and one of the best in the league. The 49ers didn't want to pay him a big contract, so they drafted Mitch Wishnowsky. Pinion would go on to win a Super Bowl with Tampa Bay, and now he's with Atlanta, and he kicked well for the Falcons in this game. But the 49ers have the ball to start the second half, and this play is one where I feel the game really started to turn in Atlanta's favor. Ray McCloud looks like he's going deep, and the defenders have hesitated for just a split second, but it's long enough for a speedy player like McCloud that they're already beaten. And Garoppolo gets him a great ball way downfield, and he drops it. Ouch. Why did the defenders hesitate? It's because of the play-action fake to the running back. In fact, the 49ers even pulled the guard around to help sell the fake. Now, Jalen Moore, who's in pass protection, struggles a little bit here, and Garoppolo takes a shot and still gets a great ball off. And for Ray McCloud, you got to catch that thing. That was a big drop in this game. Why? Well, when your defense is missing as many starters as San Francisco's, and when Atlanta's offense is playing as well as they are, you've got to score points to keep up with them, and you can't have big, significant misses like that on offense. And in fact, Atlanta would get the ball back. The Niners have an aggressive D-line, but the Falcons would make them pay again. Take a look at Samson Ebukam. Totally go for the running back here, and Marcus Mariota just runs right by him. The Falcons put Bird in motion, and that causes the defense to react a little. But watch Marcus Mariota turn and face him as if he's going to throw him the ball in the bubble screen, and that really causes the defense to react, clearing the way for Kyle Pitts, who takes just a single step to the outside, and that's enough to create separation against Sammy Womack. Kyle Pitts has had a slow start to the year, but look out if the Falcons can get him going. Younghoe Koo knocks through the extra point for the fourth time today, making the score 28-14. Down 2 scores, the Niners call another deep shot. And we can see the safety, Richie Grant, shading to the outside a little bit, and it's understandable. If you're looking across at Charlie Woerner and George Kittle, you might be tempted to lean in Kittle's direction a little bit more. But here it's a mistake, because it allows Charlie Woerner to come wide open down the middle of the field. Why isn't the linebacker Rashaan Evans going with him? Well, because the Falcons are in a zone. Evans has done his job, he's carried Woerner through his zone, and now he passes him off to the safety, who isn't there. He hits him in the hands and he drops it. Another major drop for the 49ers. Garoppolo's been showing off his arm a little bit in this game, but you need more than that to throw the ball deep. What do you need to throw the ball deep? You need time. And that's what the offensive line gives him. And that's absolutely unacceptable. Ball hits him right in the hands. You must come down with this catch, because you're down 2 scores, right? You're in a shootout, and the problem is the Niners aren't doing much shooting because they're not coming up with these catches. So on 3rd down, San Francisco lines all their receivers up real tight. It's something that, especially with that trips formation, can help the receivers gain some separation. But defenses have been taking advantage of it this year. How? Well, it allows them to line up tight as well, and it makes it easier for them to play little games, like dropping a defensive tackle into pass coverage and sending a corner on a pass rush. And this time it works. Daniel Brunskill is absolutely fooled by this. Garoppolo has to throw off his back foot, and the pass falls incomplete. Here we see that's actually Nate Landman lined up in the defensive tackle position, and that's the whole point, right? The Niners don't know who's coming and who's going. And the Falcons actually drop Landman and Rashaan Evans, and they send Richie Grant on the rush. And it works. Facing 4th and 4 with 6 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter, the 49ers could have gone for it here. But they are, as they say in the business, on the wrong side of the 50. So Shanahan decides to punt, and Wishnowsky gets off a perfect one, putting that ball inside the 10-yard line. After gaining a 1st down, the Falcons would be forced to punt as well. And the Niners are going to get the ball back with time winding down in the 3rd quarter. They're going to be facing a key 3rd down and 2, and I'm going to show you the clock ticking down here. The Niners don't have to run a play, so Garoppolo's going to try to get them to jump. He goes up, says, ha-hut, ha-hut. Falcons aren't jumping, ha-hut, it's not working, ha-hut. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, watch this. It works. Paging D Ford. But on the next play, it would be the Falcons who have the last laugh. Here we see Darren Hall pointing. He wants the safety to cover number 83 because he sees Deebo Samuel coming across and he's going to pick him up. Garoppolo doesn't see the point because he's looking off the safety. He thinks he's going to have Deebo open here. And on top of that, it's not a particularly accurate pass by Garoppolo. The ball is tipped up in the air and intercepted. A huge play. Garoppolo played really well in this game. I thought this was his worst mistake. Not the most egregious error, but one that really hurt the 49ers. Ultimately, the defense would hold and force the Falcons into a punt. And this is interesting here. Look at Ray McCloud faking like he's going to catch the ball. He wants that gunner to let up and let that ball bounce and maybe roll into the end zone for a touchback. Ultimately, it doesn't work. The Falcons play it correctly and down the ball at the 1 yard line. Great punt by Bradley Pinion. And now Atlanta has added a second opponent. The 49ers now have a second opponent because in addition to facing the Falcons, they are now also facing the clock. Facing a 3rd and 1 with 8 minutes left, Garoppolo takes it himself on the quarterback sneak. It's a first down, and folks, would you believe me if I told you Jimmy Garoppolo has never been stopped on the quarterback sneak? Needing a lot of points quickly, the 49ers dial up another deep shot. And once again, we see 2 receivers, Deebo Samuel and Brandon Aiyuk, in the area of 1 defender. That's Casey Hayward. The safety is taking himself out of the play, and we'll talk about why that is in just a moment. But for now, when Deebo Samuel cuts to the inside, Hayward goes with him. And Brandon Aiyuk takes the space the defense left behind, but he is way downfield. And for the 3rd time this game, Garoppolo is going to be asked to make an accurate downfield throw. And it's perfect, and it's a big play, and it's just what the Niners need, and they are in business. Unfortunately, this play would not count. First of all, we see Jimmy Garoppolo looking to his left. That's what moves the safety out of the way. But check out the center, Jake Brendel, who was just beaten on the bull rush by Abdullah Anderson, and, in the official's opinion, pulls Anderson down after he's beaten. That's a holding penalty, and that penalty by rule, wipes out this play. This play does not happen, and it's a real shame because it's what the 49ers needed. Again, the Falcons drop an end and send a linebacker. It's just a 4-man rush, and they're going to be in a zone. But Garoppolo shows some nice mobility in the pocket here to buy some extra time. He sees Rashaan Evans doing a good job of carrying Deebo Samuel through the zone. But he's going to have to pass him off at some point. But pass him off to who? Because Brandon Aiyuk is taking the safety away. Well, he's going to have to pass him off to Hawkins. And you can see that there's going to be a little tiny hole in that zone. And that's right where Garoppolo puts the football. And then the bully does the rest, picking up 27 yards when the 49ers really needed it. Good Jimmy. Now, if you're thinking all these plays are taking up a lot of time, you'd be right. The 49ers are still only at their own 44-yard line, and there's only 5 minutes to go at this point. 1 safety back deep, and Casey Hayward is playing an outside technique, which is interesting. If Brandon Aiyuk goes to the sideline, he's in a great position to defend that play. Unfortunately for him, Aiyuk goes to the inside. Garoppolo gets him the football, and after the play, you can see Hayward and Hawkins discussing the play. Probably just a little bit of a miscommunication on that play. All right, gotta go. But watch the football here. Did you see it? He moves the ball. That's a snap infraction. The center forgot the snap count, and that's a penalty. It backs the 49ers up. Jake Brendel really struggling in crunch time. Atlanta goes back to their favorite trick, dropping some defenders while sending a corner on a pass rush. But this time it exposes the Falcons a little bit. It creates the obvious problem here of having only 2 defenders against 3 receivers. And that third receiver is George Kittle. At the start of this next play, we see Darren Hall giving a lot of space to Jauan Jennings. And at the snap, he's going to give him even more. And that's the correct strategy, right? The Falcons know that the only way they're going to lose this game is if the 49ers score a lot of points quickly. And I emphasize the word quickly. We're inside 4 minutes to play at this point, so it's okay if you give up yards. What you don't want to give up are points. A long bonehead touchdown. They're going to make sure they don't do that. They're going to drop real deep. That's the right move. The linebacker chips George Kittle and then comes on the pass rush, opening up space for Jauan Jennings. Garoppolo makes the read, gets him the football, and Jennings gains 9 on the play. So now it's 2nd down and 1, and Garoppolo appears to have Deebo Samuel open here, but he doesn't take the throw. And it's unclear why, but I'm going to guess that he did not like this throwing lane. So Jimmy decides to scramble. And what do you do when you see your quarterback scrambling? You run towards him, or at the very least you go with him, and that's what Kittle does. But if Kittle runs to the sideline, he's covered. In fact, Garoppolo sees this. You can see him pointing. He wants George Kittle to run to the back of the end zone for that reason. But Kittle apparently doesn't see the hand gesture, and the two aren't on the same page, and the pass falls incomplete. Again, probably no throwing lane to get the ball to Deebo here. Facing a huge 3rd down and 1, the 49ers go back to a play that they know will work. You remember in the first half when I showed you the video against the Raiders, the running play they used, and then I showed you a similar play that Atlanta ran. Here the 49ers run the exact same play. They use the tight end to block the defensive end, and you can see once again they have Kyle Juszczyk out there to help with the blocking. They pull the right tackle, and Tevin Coleman will follow behind him. But that's not Mike McGlinchey. That's Dan Brunskill. Brunskill's a little slow getting out there, and you see DeAndre Alford has beaten him to the edge. Needing only a yard, Tevin Coleman decides the best thing to do is maybe to just try to cut it upfield right now. He trips over Brunskill, and then Alford makes the play. The Niners were literally tripping over each other for pretty much this whole game. Fourth and 1, here's your ball game. All the receivers are covered, so what do? Can Garoppolo scramble here? And that's really close with those defenders lurking right there. He decides to try to gun it into Deebo Samuel. It's an inaccurate pass. I don't know if it would have been completed anyway, but that'll pretty much do it. Falcons take over on downs. Why was the pass off the mark? Watch Garoppolo's feet here. This tweet by David Lombardi sums up the drive perfectly. That drive was not a good reflection of Kyle Shanahan. No 49ers urgency regarding the clock, and then an inexplicable shotgun alignment and pass on 4th and short when the quarterback sneak had been a foolproof option. Well, that perfectly sums it up, doesn't it? I want to thank David Lombardi for his thoughts on that. I'll put the link in the description. His publicly available tweets are always good reading for 49ers fans, but really calls into question the play calling once again of Kyle Shanahan. I know it's become kind of a weekly discussion. I don't really know what to make of it. You guys saw the same plays that I did. There was a lot of plays that were really good, right? Well designed, well timed, and well executed by the players. Ultimately, that last drive, the offense didn't need to do what it needed to do. They were backed up at the 1. They started at the 1 yard line. They committed a lot of penalties. So not all of that is on Kyle Shanahan. I think the 49ers came into the game obviously shorthanded on defense. They played as well as they could have, but ultimately they gave up 28 points. And when you're in that type of game, the offense must keep pace. You got to keep scoring points. And in the first half, it looked like they were going to be able to do that. The second half really started to turn against them. The big drops by Ray McCloud and Charlie Woerner, those were just absolutely back-breaking, drive-killing plays that would have led to points. 49ers were shut out in the second half. Just think, even if they just get field goals on those 2 plays alone, right, that's 6 more points. They would have been right in there with a chance to tie it at the end of the game at the very least. And then the big bomb to Brandon Aiyuk, called back because of the holding penalty. The 49er offensive line, again, playing with a lot of backups, really struggled towards the end of the game on that drive where they had to be clutch. There's a lot of discussion to be had around this 49ers team, right? Obviously, you can't do anything about the injuries on defense. Obviously, we wish the best for everybody, right? Kinlaw, Armstead, Bosa, Emmanuel Mosley, Charvarius Ward, Talanoa Hufanga, everybody that struggled in this game, Samson Ebukam, and in some cases played through those injuries to try to help the team win. They did the best they could. I think there's kind of been a question about the offensive line really ever since Kyle Shanahan took over, right? He inherited the Chip Kelly offensive line, right? Which wasn't bad if you think about it. They had Trent Brown, they had Joe Staley, they had Daniel Kilgore at center, but he was playing well, at least that final stretch, right? Remember 2017, Garoppolo came in, they won those last 5 games in a row, and Shanahan decided to remake the entire offensive line with the exception of Joe Staley, and we see why, right? When we look at these zone runs, all the running that those offensive linemen have to do, and if you're a regular viewer of this channel, you know what I'm talking about, it makes sense that they would get players that fit their scheme. The pass protection for several years now has been lacking, and it's something that the 49ers as an organization has not addressed, or at least has not addressed adequately. I don't want to dog them too much. Aaron Banks has been playing pretty good. Spencer Burford, he's a rookie, and he's had rookie moments, but pressed into service, he's played okay. But overall, it's just been disappointing. I think we can be frank and say that. I think it's okay to acknowledge that. And against Kansas City, they're going to have to play better because things don't get any easier for the 49ers next week going up against Patrick Mahomes, right? The good thing is with that defense of Kansas City, the 49ers should have some opportunities offensively to keep pace. At least that's what you would think. They had those opportunities, I thought, in this game as well against the Falcons and didn't capitalize on them. And on the flip side, the Falcons did an excellent job of capitalizing on their opportunities. every time they got down into scoring position, they scored a touchdown. They made the most of Mariota's skill set. Remember, when the Niners played the Titans in 2017, part of that stretch of 5 games, Garoppolo and Mariota faced off then as well, when the Titans came to Levi's. And that was a great game, came right down to the wire. The Niners kicked a field goal at the very end to win it. This game, Mariota once again played real well, and it showed, putting up 28 points. And really, the Falcons just stuck with the run all game long. They pounded the 49ers and pounded them and pounded them. Then they used Mariota in the zone read, and then they popped a few big ones when the situation called for it, right? San Francisco, on the other hand, yeah, they had some nice plays. They got down the field a few times. They scored a couple of touchdowns, but really their offense looked very disjointed, out of sync. Couple of plays that stand out to me in that regard. The Jeff Wilson Jr. fumble, right? A lot went wrong on that play. The ball is snapped before Debo gets fully set. He's caught a little flat-footed and misses the block right at the snap. You could put some blame on the quarterback for that, possibly. In addition to that, the obvious fumble by Jeff Wilson Jr. cannot happen. Later on in the game, on that key fourth quarter drive where they needed to score points, Jake Brendel has the snap infraction, moving the football because he forgot the snap count. Those are just little things that show me the offense is out of sync. You know, they still quite haven't put it all together. We kind of been saying this every week. Last week, I thought they took a big step against the Panthers towards doing that. They looked pretty good. This week they showed some flashes, but they have not put it all together. And again, if they want to beat Kansas City, they are going to have to do that. But you know what? Every time this team's back is up against the wall, they find a way to do that, don't they? You know, when the chips are down, that's when they really dig deep and find a way to deliver. And it's going to be a great atmosphere at Levi Stadium on Sunday. You know, Jim Harbaugh and some other big names, Colin Kaepernick, are coming back to honor the 2012 Super Bowl team for a reunion. How cool is that? It's the 10-year anniversary of that team. So you know the crowd is going to be fired up. They're going to be into it. It's the Super Bowl rematch, obviously, against Kansas City. So, you know, that stadium is going to be a fortress for the 49ers. It's going to be real fun to watch. I want to thank all my new subscribers. You guys are great. And this is the part in the video. And again, every week I'm just humbled and honored and overwhelmed by your generosity. I want to especially thank those who have helped to contribute to this channel. And guys, I just can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate it. It is, again, really just been overwhelming to me. Thank you so much. You guys, again, just week in and week out, you humble me. Thank you. And leave me a comment, guys. I read every comment. I try to respond to as many as I can during the week. Always impressed by the football knowledge and football ideas that come out. And, you know, just loving the interaction on this channel. And I'm going to be kicking around some ideas of what more we can do around that coming up. But in the meantime, it'll be 49ers and Kansas City on Sunday. Big game. Big game for the 49ers. They really need this one. And, man, you know, after that game, we will be there to break down that film. And I will see you guys then.